Hi everyone, welcome to another video on the Python series of videos by Simplilearn. Today we are going to learn about looping techniques in Python. In our previous videos we have already discussed about for loops, while loops and nested loops in Python. In this session we'll be using all those concepts and look at some of the interesting looping techniques. Before I begin, make sure to subscribe to the Simplilearn channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. This is going to be a completely hands-on demo video and we'll be using the Jupyter Notebook to work on the examples. So let's head over to our Jupyter Notebook and begin. Okay, so I'm on my Jupyter Notebook. First of all, let's rename our notebook to Looping Techniques. Okay, I'll just increase the size. Alright. Okay, so let's see how you can arrange the values in a list using for loops with Python sorted function. So I'll create a variable called num and I'll assign a list. Let's say it has values 2, 5, 10, 4. I'm taking just random values. Let's say 36, 50 and 49. So this is my list. Now I want to arrange the items in this list in either ascending or descending order. So for that I can use a for loop. I'll say for I, which is my iterator variable, in, and after this I'm going to use the Python sorted function, and inside the function I'll pass in my variable which is num. Then I'll give a colon and say print I. So let's hit shift enter to run it. Okay, you can see here, so Python by default has sorted the elements in the list in ascending order. So we have 2, 4, 5, then 10, 36, 49, 50 and 50. Now let's learn how you can sort the values in a list using a for loop in descending order. So I'll just copy my above cell of code. We'll paste it here. It will help save us some time. So I'll say for I in sorted, I've given my variable num. After this, I'm going to pass in another parameter called reverse equal to, I'll say true. Now reverse equal to true will make sure Python will sort the list in descending order. If I run it, you can see the difference. We have sorted the elements in the list num in descending order now. So we have 50, 50, 49, 36, 10, 5, 4 and 2. Okay, so this is one of the techniques that you can use to sort the elements in a list using a for loop. Now similarly, you can also sort string elements alphabetically in a list in ascending or descending order. So for that, I'll create a variable called players. Let me just scroll down. Then I'll create a list which will have the names of football players. Let's say we have Messi. Then let's say we have Ronaldo. Then we have Salah. And then we have, let's say, Harry. Okay. I'm going to say for I in my function sorted, I'll say players, I'll give a comma and again use reverse equal to true. So this is going to sort the items in my list players in descending order of the alphabets. Then I'll give a colon and say print I. Let me run it. You can see here the names of the different football players have been sorted in descending order of alphabets. So we have S appearing first, then R, M and H. So Salah, Ronaldo, Messi and Harry. Alright, now let's move ahead. Now we are going to create a dictionary of key value pairs and sort it. So I'll create a dictionary called D which will have a few key value pairs. So my first key is F and the value is, let's say, 1. Then my second key, let's say, is B and the value is 4. I'll give a comma. My next key is A and the value is, let's say, 3. After that, my next key is E and the value is, let's say, 9. And finally we have our last key, which is C, and the value is 2. Now to sort this dictionary, I'll say for I in sorted, I'm going to use the items method. I'll say sorted d.items and then we'll print I. Let me run it and show you the result. You can see it here. Our dictionary has been sorted in ascending order of the dictionary keys. So we have A, B, then C. There is no D here. After that we have E and then F. Cool. Now you can also sort the keys and values separately. Let me just copy this and I'll show you. I'll paste it here, and instead of d.items, I'll just say d.keys. If I run it, you can see here we have sorted only the keys in my dictionary. Now to sort the values, instead of items, you can just write values, and here you can see we have sorted the values in the dictionary D in ascending order again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 9. Alright. Now we will understand how to use the reverse function in loops to reverse the items in a list. So I'll again create my list called players, which will have Messi. Let's say again the next player is Ronaldo, and then we have Salah, and then we have Harry. Okay. Now to reverse the elements in this list called players, I'll say for I in, then I'll use the reversed function and pass in my list called players, give a colon and then say print I. Let's run it. Here you can see we have reversed the elements in my list called players. So we have Harry first, then Salah, Ronaldo and Messi in the end. Cool. Now moving ahead, we'll see how to use the filter function in a loop and filter specific elements in a list based on some conditions. Now to give the condition, we'll be using an anonymous function in Python that is often called as the lambda function. To do this, I'm going to create a list called animals. I'll give my square brackets, and inside these square brackets I'm going to pass in the elements in the form of a dictionary. So to pass in a dictionary, we need to have key value pairs. So my first key is name. Let's say my animal is dogs. I'll give a comma. Then my next key is the age. Let's say dog's age is 11. So this is my first list element, which has been passed in the form of a dictionary. I'll create another curly bracket and we'll have the same keys. This time let's say my animal is lion. Let's make it dog instead of dogs. Okay. Give a comma and then say age. Let's say the age of the lion is 30. I'll give a comma. We'll go to the next line, and this time we are going to have another animal. I'll say elephant. Give a comma. Let's say the age is 63. I'll give a comma. And then we'll have our final element in the list. let's say the name of the animal is leopard, give a comma, then we'll have the age of the leopard, let's say the age is 18. So we have our list ready. Now using a for loop, we'll filter the elements in the list giving a specific condition. Let me show you. So I'll write for animals in, I'm going to use the filter function, and inside the filter function I'll give an anonymous function called lambda. I'll say lambda I colon I of age if it is divisible by 2. So I'll say age divided by 2 equal to 0, give a comma, then we will print that animal. I'll give a colon, I'll say print animals. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the filter function and passing my condition, that is, if the age of the animal is divisible by 2, then print the animal, or just print the list. Rest we don't need. Alright, now let me run it. It says there is an invalid syntax. Let me debug it. Okay, there is a spelling mistake here in lambda. This should be MBDA. Okay, now we'll run it. There you go. So here in the list that we had created, only the age of lion and leopard were divisible by 2. So 30 and 18 were divisible by 2. So Python printed us only those two elements in the list. The rest it ignored. 11 and 63 are not divisible by 2, so we did not get dog and elephant. Cool. So this is another interesting looping technique where you can use filter as well as an anonymous lambda function. Alright. Now in the next example, we'll see how to remove items in a list using a while loop. So far we have been using only for loops. Now we are going to see a few examples using while loop. Okay. I'm going to create a variable called country. So this variable will hold a list of elements of the different country names. I'll say India. Let's say my second country is Canada, and let's say my third country I have is Brazil. My fourth country I have is Japan, and then we have, let's say, Israel. Okay. Now I'll use a while loop. So I'll say while my list, that is country, then to remove the elements in the list I'm going to use the pop function. So I'll say print country dot, I'll say pop, and I'll pass -1 as the parameter so that it removes the elements from the end of the list. If I run it, you can see here we have Israel, Japan, Brazil, Canada and India. Now you can just print country. You can see here, since we have removed all the elements from my list country, there is no element left here, so it gives us an empty list. Cool. Now let me show you how you can use while loops in just one line. So for that I'll create a variable called num and I'll assign a value of 10. I'll say while num is greater than 0, I'll say num equal to num -1. I'll give a semicolon this time, and then I'll say print num. Let's run it. You can see it here. We have printed 9, 8, 7, 6 up to 0. So in the first iteration my num value was 10. So 10 greater than 0 was true. So we decrease the value of num by 1, so num became 9 and we printed 9. In the second iteration, num, which was 9, was greater than 0. Then we decreased or reduced num by 1 again, so it became 8. Then we printed it and the loop continued till we reached 0. Cool. Now had this condition been num equal to num plus 1 or num plus equal to 1, the loop would have run for infinite number of times. Alright. Now I'll show you an example how to run an infinite loop. So I'll say while true, I'll create a variable called num. Now this num would be a user input, a user integer input actually. I'll pass in the message as enter an integer, give a colon followed by a space, and then we'll say print the product of, I'll give a comma, say num, I'll give another comma, I'll say is. Now we'll pass in our multiplication. I want to multiply any user given number by 5. So I'll say 5 multiplied by num. Okay, let's run it and see here, enter an integer. If I say, let's say 3, so 3 multiplied by 5 is 15, the product of 3. Here I can change the message as multiplied by 5. You can say is. Okay, now let's run it. Okay, so let's say I enter my integer as 3. I have the message the product of 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. Let's enter another value 10, the product is 50. Let's say I have 20, the product is 100. Let's say I am taking 35 multiplied by 5 is 175. So this loop will continue until and unless you don't interrupt it. So I'm going to interrupt my kernel to stop executing this loop. Okay, now we are going to explore the enumerate function in Python, but before that let me tell you what enumerate function is. So the enumerate method or the function in Python allows us to number list indices of the items as they are coming out of the array. Python will automatically put this indices into a tuple. Let me show you how it works. So I'll directly start with my for loop. I'll say for I in, I'll use the enumerate keyword, and within brackets I'll pass in my elements in the form of list. I'll say the, let's say, then we have brown. The next word I have is for. Let's say then we have jumped. This is basically a sentence broken down into different words, and those words we have put as elements in the list. The next word I have is the, give a comma, I'll say lazy. Then we have dog, give a comma, and finally we'll have our full stop or the period. Okay, then I'll give a colon and I'll say print I. Now let me run it. You can see here using the enumerate function we have given the indices to the different items in my list. So it starts from 0 and goes till 8. So there are total 9 elements in my list. Okay, now you can see here the result has been printed in the form of a tuple or tuple. I'll just copy the above code and paste it here. Now I'm going to replace I with key and value, and print also I'll say key comma value. Let me show you the result. You can see here this time it is no more a tuple, and here we have the indices and then we have the items. So basically these indices have now become the keys and the items are the values. Okay. Now you can print the different elements in the form of a sentence. Let me show you how to do it. I'll just paste it here, and instead of key I'll say value, and I'll use the end parameter in the print statement. I'll say end equal to, I'll give a space. Let's run it. You can see here, okay, this should be brown fox and not for. Let's run it again. So we have the sentence, the brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Okay. So similarly, you can iterate through the letters in a word or a string and print the letters along with the indices. I'll declare a variable called company, and this will have a value, let's say simply learn. I'll say for I comma j in, I'll use the enumerate function. Within brackets I'll say company, give a colon, then I'll say print I comma j. Let's see the result. There you go. So here we have indices assigned to the different letters in my word simply learn. Okay. Now moving ahead. So by default the index position starts at 0 as I told you. Now you can also mention the starting index position using the start parameter. So what I'll do is I'll copy my above code, I'll paste it here. Now we are going to make some changes. I'll say for I in enumerate company, and then I'm going to give my start parameter. Let's say I want to start the index position at 10. Now if I print it, okay, let's say print I. There you go. Here you can see my first letter starts at index 10, then we have 11, M at 12, P at 13, and finally we have the last letter, which is N in simply learn, is at the 20th index. Cool. Okay. So now let's explore the zip function in Python and how you can use it to loop it through two arrays at once. So the zip function returns a zip object, which is an iterator of tuples where the first item in each past iterator is paired together, and then the second item in each past iterator is paired together, and so on and so forth. So if the past iterators have different lengths, the iterator with the least items decides the length of the new iterator. Let me show you the first example that will help you understand how the zip function works. So I have a list called first, and I have a names of few football players. We have Lionel, then we have Cristiano, give a comma, and let's say we have Mohammed. I'll declare another list called last, which will have values like Messi, then we have Ronaldo, basically the surnames of Lionel, Cristiano and Mohammed. Then we have Salah. I'll write my for loop. I'll say for I in my zip function or the method, I'll pass in first comma last, which are my list names. I'll say print I. Let me run it. You can see here, using the zip function we have iterated through both the lists. So we have Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and then Mohamed Salah. Alright. Now you can combine the elements of 3 lists as well. So I'll just paste the code here and we'll create another list called num, and this is going to be a list of numbers, let's say 7 and 8. Okay. Now here I'll say for I in zip first, last and num print I. If I run it, you see the result here. It has zipped only the first 3 items in the list first, last and num. So we have 3 items printed. Okay. Now coming to the final section of this demo on looping techniques in Python, we'll explore about zip_longest. So Python's iterator tool or iter tool is a module that provides various functions that work on iterators to produce complex iterators. So iterators in Python is an object that can iterate through sequence data types such as list, tuple, string and so on. So the zip_longest iterator falls under terminating iterators. It prints the values of the iterables alternatively in sequence. If one of the iterables is printed fully, the remaining values are filled with the values assigned in the fill value parameter. So to use this function called zip_longest, we need to import zip_longest from the iter tools module. So I'll say from iter tools import zip_longest. Okay. Then I'll create my first list. I'll say, let me go to the top and copy the elements because we are going to use these same elements again. I'll paste it here. Okay. And let's say I'll give a comma and we are going to, and I'm again going to use the 3 elements. Okay. Now I'll create another list called last and we're going to copy the items from the top, paste it here, and now I'll say for, let me just scroll down, I in zip_longest within brackets I'll say first comma last. We're going to print I. Let me run it and show you the result. This should be zip_longest. Okay, you can see the result here. For the first 3 items it has printed Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo and Mohamed Salah, which you can see here. But for the last 3 items in the first list it has given us none, none and none because there were no values. Now to overcome this problem you can use a parameter called fill value. Let me just copy this and I'll paste it here, and the only change that I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, I'll give a comma, I'll use the parameter called fill value equal to, I'll say NA. If I run it, you can see here for the last 3, now we have whatever we have defined within fill value parameter. You can change this to, let's say, not defined. There you go. Alright, so these were some of the interesting examples that we implemented using looping techniques in Python. I hope this video was useful and informative. If you have any queries, please feel free to put them in the comment section of the video. Thank you for watching.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.